Hello everyone, it's Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo here with another Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous ship review. And this one's going to be for the ship that you get with buying one of the AMD graphic cards that come with the Star Citizen package. Before we get into this, I just want to bring you up to date on a couple of things. After my interview with Ben Lesnick, I created a thread in general chat with the title of Which TNGS should CIG develop next? And it has already blown up to the point where it's had over 7,000 views in 30 hours, and it's had just about 1,150 to 1,200 votes. I would love if all of those here that are listening to this show would go out there and take a look at the thread and vote. You don't have to vote for the ship. I have 5 ships that you could vote for, and then no opinion and don't develop one at all. I'm answering the call that Ben made to us, which was if we want one of these ships, get out there and campaign for it and get it made. So I created a one-stop place that you can get your voice heard, and hopefully when Ben comes on for the giveaway tomorrow night, I could bring his attention to it and see if he could bring it to the rest of the people over at CIG. Second piece of it is there's been quite a number of people sending in entries for the Freelancer MIS contest. I'm kind of torn because I'm one of those people that's always good, and I don't want to, I don't want to let anybody down. But a lot of y'all are putting in, you're putting in entries that were not done during the time period of the contest, which was until we hit 1,500. So I'm kind of torn what to do. I don't know if it's good to do it. In other words, I don't want to get anybody upset. So I'm either going to upset the people that have been entering the contest from the beginning, or I'm going to upset the people that have taken the last couple of days to send me all these entries that they haven't done before. Now, you've done the work, and I'm trying to figure this one out. I have less than 24 hours to get my act together and make a decision on this. But just be mindful that in the Drive to 2K contest, when I hit 2,000 subscribers, the contest is over. What that means is that you could only enter for the last episode after that. You can't keep entering all the way back to the first one if you weren't watching from the beginning. So that would be for next time. This time, I've got to decide what to do, and I really would feel bad if I told you that your hard work wasn't going to be rewarded with at least letting your entries in. So we'll see where I go with that. This third piece is going to be I have a ship to give away, and that ship is going to be this one. And I hope those of you that are watching my show have grown some kind of affection for the Redeemer. It wasn't everybody's favorite. Obviously, it's just like politics. There isn't one single ship that everybody's going to love, but this is the ship that we're going to be giving away for the Drive to 2K contest, and it will be given away with LTI. That was promised to me by Ben, and I will probably be taking care of the next contest on my own. I'm going to try to see if I can get enough money together to put to give away a Constellation Andromeda package next time. And there's the Redeemer. We've all seen this before in a couple of my episodes, so let's go on over here. This ship over here, and I don't like to call out people's names when they give me something, because it really, I don't think it's fair unless they ask me or tell me that it's okay to give out their name. But a subscriber, a person I know from the Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous thread in the subscriber den, has given me access to his ship that he got for purchasing an AMD graphic card. He never really wanted it. He knew how much I loved the Mustang, so I got my Mustang. And of course, I can't talk about the Mustang here today because all of the wonderful things that we could say about it are not down in stone yet. This is a bad hangar to do this demo in because the lighting just sucks in here, doesn't it? Well, I hope that's something that they get done, but at least we have Eric Peterson's voice to listen to. And that's sad now that he's given his notice to everybody, saying that because of Chris moving all of the team leads to Santa Monica, he's no longer able to work for CIG and is leaving to seek his own, I guess, his own endeavors, his own path in the future of gaming. And I'm 100% behind Eric. It was probably a bombshell that was dropped on him. Now, we know why everything has to be moved to Santa Monica, because Chris wants his round table of people there that he could talk to and say, all right, now get your teams working. He wants the main heads right there that he could talk to and get this game done. Why is that? Well, the game's getting a lot bigger, and it's getting a lot more funded than he thought it was going to be in the beginning. So by having everybody close by, that means that we're going to have much more control, much more an easier pathway to getting certain modules out. But it also means that people like Chris Olivia and Eric Peterson, who would have to move to Santa Monica, chose not to, have left the company. I'm sorry to see you go, Eric. Thank you very much for all the hard work you put into the game. You will be missed, but I will be right there with you for whatever you choose to do next and support you just as much as I've supported this game. I promise that. All right, so here's the Mustang. Let's get back to that, okay? So I was given the Mustang by one of the people in the Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous thread, and I immediately jumped into it. And this was a couple of weeks ago, and I was kind of disappointed because it wasn't done. It was one of those things that they promised to give out to AMD when the pipeline wasn't, well, when the variant system wasn't implemented. Then they implemented the variant system, which pretty much set everything that was about ready to be released back in the pipeline. In other words, instead of being released in a couple of weeks, it was set back to a month to 2 months. And the reason is, it makes more sense to hold up on the release of those ships and to stop them where they were, get the variant system in place, and then move forward. Why would that be? Well, there are going to be 5 versions of this ship. This is the lightest version and the fastest version, and of course it's built for one thing, for speed. This one is built to compete in the Murray Cup, and it's going to be competing against the other 2 ships in this line, the M50 and the 350R. Now, it doesn't look like it would be as capable. We don't know what the engines are in it just yet. Everything is pretty much up in the air until the actual ship is released. And although it's sitting in my hangar over here, it's not released. They were forced to put this in the hangar because of the deal with AMD. But it is not done by any means. In fact, this past patch, they just implemented the animations for getting in and out of the cockpit and the animations in the cockpit. Am I happy with the ship? Well, this is the Omega. It's in the AMD R9 paint scheme. There will be another one. We don't know what that paint scheme is going to be. We've seen pictures, but that was not the finalized paint scheme. If you remember, they had a contest to see who would be able to come up with an awesome racing scheme, and I think that's the one that we're going to see when it gets released. But there's an alpha, a beta, an omega, and a gamma, and a delta, I believe. There's 5 versions of these. I'm trying to remember the Greek alphabet. I'm sure my sorority would be very annoyed with me that I can't remember it in my ripe old age of you-know-what. But I'm really liking this ship, and I think I'm happy that I was able to obtain it from this wonderful person in the thread. When he gives me the okay to go ahead and give his name, I will. But I think that if people want to remain anonymous, I should let them remain anonymous. Or if they want to be heard, they should be able to tell me that they want to be heard or be thanked online. All right, there is this. And let's see if the animations are there. And look, the chair swivels out. That is pretty cool. Now, the entry into the alpha and the beta and the gamma and the delta are probably all going to be different. There's supposed to be a port where you can get in over here, but this ship is actually more streamlined for racing. It looks like a totally different body style than the others. Not totally different, but a different frame from the others. It's thinner, it's sleeker, and it seems that it might have 3 engines here. I don't know, but you see the glowy thing in the center. And I say that the ship specs aren't done yet because a lot of things are to be or to be announced, to be decided in there. But what we can be sure of is that these are probably going to have TR2 engines. This is a light ship, and I think they took those down to TR3s. But I think this may even be lighter in the end than the ship in front of it, which is unusual. And it's mainly because the alloys used to make this are unique to the Bremen system and to the people in the Consolidated Outland group. So they're able to make these ships that look amazing, but they're still light. The biggest problem is they're not very durable, and they may blow up at any point. I don't think that's right. But they sacrificed armor for speed. They sacrificed armor for lightness, for maneuverability. So this, although it competes against the Aurora, and it's bigger than the M50 in front of it, I think it's going to be able to take the M50 on in the Murray Cup. It's just a pretty ship. Let's go inside of it and take a look around the cockpit and see if the cockpit is as beautiful as the rest of it. The cockpit looks like a motorcycle. Look at that. Just so you know, they don't have any animations for the throttle and stick right now. You should be able to look down further. I like the ability to see down below you over there and over there. Cockpit, no distortion whatsoever, even though it's kind of angled right there in the center. It's a really, really, really pretty cockpit. Like I said, more like a motorcycle or a speeder bike than a spaceship. And of course, this one's all for racing. It's not for fighting at all, even though it has 2 Bulldog repeaters on it, or Bullpup repeaters. It's kind of nice in here. Let's get back out of the ship. Let's see the animation for exiting the ship. It's not letting me see it from the outside, which is not right. I guess they don't have the outside animation done yet. But there's nice little pieces of the ship I like. I mean, no matter how close you get, it seems to be very detailed. I wonder what these things are here. Are they sensors? What are they? And of course, we don't see any of those computer pieces that you can see on the M50 here to be able to overclock engines or anything. I wonder if they'll be added later. But you do see the lights. Look at how gorgeous and look at how detailed each piece of this is. So while I said the M50 was definitely 100% the most highly detailed ship that I've seen in the game, this is running right up there with it. It's a beautiful ship. So let's recap what we talked about today. A fond farewell to Eric Peterson. Please, please, please understand the Freelancer MIS contest is over, and that you should not have been sending in entries after the contest was over. When I put up the spreadsheet, it was only so you could forward me the ones I missed that you'd already sent me, which I was hoping would be in your sent email. If you had Gmail, it's almost always saved. I'm going to think about changing my mind and letting all the entries I've received up until this very moment be entered. But that would be breaking the hearts of other people that have spent the whole time putting in the effort to put in all those shares each and every week. And the third and last piece of that recap is that my prize, my giveaway prize for the Drive to 2K contest is indeed going to be a Redeemer. It's going to be a Redeemer ship with LTI, not the package. And I think that's a pretty good giveaway, being that it's $250. And if you get it and you don't want it, you could probably get a cross-chassis upgrade to one of the other ships in its class. Last thing, please make sure you go out to the general chat, look for the thread that asks if you would like to see the next generation starships developed by CIG. If you don't, there's a place in that thread, in that poll, for you to say no. If you have no opinion, there's a place for that. But you do have a place for the other 5 of the top 6 ships in the competition. So if you liked the Infinite Shoe Monkey Scimitar, if you liked the 3 Dingo Phoenix, if you liked the Shard Collective Boomslang, or if you liked the Talon, what was the Team Talon one called? The V-Ray, I think? I'm not 100% sure. But if you liked any of those, Shimapan's ship, if you liked any of the ships that I talked about, I think Shimapan's was the Brutus, right? If you liked any of those ships, please go out there and let your voice be heard. Ben threw down the gauntlet in the last show that I did, and I think we should answer and say, yes, these people put in their hard work. They should be considered. And if there's a voice that says they shouldn't be considered, believe me, I want to see that there too. I'm trying to get to 2,000 votes before tomorrow so I can present it to Ben. And with that said, you all be safe out there, and I'll talk to you tomorrow with the winner of the Freelancer MIS contest. How do you like that new ending? You all be safe out there. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye now.